Very good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sauradeep, your moderator for the session. Thank you for standing by and welcome to the Esri India webinar on Revolutionize Your Enterprise GIS Vision with ArcGIS Enterprise. This is the third webinar of the multi-webinar series focusing on new and enhanced capabilities of ArcGIS platform. The today's speaker for our webinar will be Mr. Ashish Dhawan. Mr. Dhawan is a Senior Manager Pre-Sales at Esri India. He has over 15 years of experience in GIS industry and has worked extensively on enterprise-level GIS solutions and integration. Mr. Dhawan will share details about what is new in ArcGIS Enterprise and will discuss on the opportunities created for you by the updates. For the duration of presentation, all participants' line will be in listen-only mode. We will have a panel from Esri India experts and from other industries and technology areas on call to answer any queries you may have. We will have the Q&A session post the presentations. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you may use them and send them across to all panelists using the chat window on the right-hand side of your console. And now, without any further delay, I would like to hand over the proceedings to Mr. Ashish Dhawan from Esri India. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Sauradeep. So as Sauradeep suggested that today we are going to talk about how we can revolutionize your enterprise using ArcGIS Enterprise. So what we had seen is how the ArcGIS Enterprise evolution occurred was, if you remember that ArcGIS in earlier days started from IMS. It moved from ArcIMS and there was a concept of ArcSD. Then we moved to ArcGIS servers. And now, as we see that there's lots of data which is coming in, and we are talking about Internet of Things and everything, so we would like that whatever data we are working with, we should be able to work with it in a much faster way. And that's why we have come up with a new concept of ArcGIS Enterprise. And what's new in ArcGIS? The first thing which we would like to talk about today is in our previous sessions we did cover this, which was the desktop part, but here when we talk about ArcGIS Enterprise, the desktops are very well connected to your enterprise. So whatever work you do, whatever analysis you do, whatever maps you create, you can easily share them on the web or on your any mobile devices which you are using. If you see the architecture on the right-hand side, for the server we have the portal for ArcGIS, which was earlier there, but now we have come up with new extra server extensions which are there, which is the GIS server, image server, analytic server, GeoEvent server. And now there are lots of changes which have happened during the enterprise deployment, which I will be taking ahead in the coming slides. So first, talking about the ArcGIS ArcMap. So if you talk about ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro, so these are your desktop solutions. So these desktop solutions are, they can help you, whatever data you work with, whatever data you are working with, whatever data you create, whatever analysis you do, whatever projects you create, you can very well publish your data on the web using these devices, using these softwares. So ArcGIS Pro, as you know, is a 64-bit software. It has a very much simplified user interface, like a ribbon interface. It is integrated with ArcGIS Online. So if anybody wants to use data from which is already available with ArcGIS Online, they can very well pull down their data from ArcGIS Online and use it. ArcGIS Pro has come up with of 2D and 3D visualization together, and you can sync your scenes which together. So what I mean by that is you are able to have a 2D and a 3D view together. Once we have that, the benefit of that is that if I'm doing analytics on the 2D side, I'm able to have the same experience on the 3D side. Apart from 2D and 3D experience, we have got multiple map layouts and geoprocessing services, which are also the capability of ArcGIS Pro. We have already had a detailed version of ArcGIS Pro webinar, so I will be now moving a little bit ahead. So if you talk about the ArcGIS Pro, it is a ribbon-based, has a ribbon-based interface. You can have your data on the left-hand side. You can have on the right-hand side, you have your catalog where you can pull your data from. You can have a 2D and a 3D scene together, and then you can work on that. Coming to ArcGIS Enterprise, with the new work of ArcGIS Enterprise, what we have done is we have got ArcGIS Server, we have got portal for ArcGIS. In ArcGIS Data Store, we have come up with a spatio-temporal data store which can be used. So if we have got data which is available with a time series stamp, we can very well add it into this data store. And we have got ArcGIS Web Adapter. ArcGIS Web Adapter helps you connect your ArcGIS server to portal for ArcGIS, and we can have a full federated enterprise system the way we want. So if we talk about deployments, we can have, if required, earlier what we used to do was ArcGIS server used to be deployed on a single machine. But now, as the GIS is maturing and as the data complexities and analytics are moving ahead, what we would like is we would like to have a multi-tier architecture where we would like to store our, and we might like to do our analysis on different servers. So what we have done is we can have a different machine multi-tier configuration, and especially for the enterprise deployment, especially we have seen that there has been few smart city deployments from Esri India as well. So in that, we always recommend to go with the high availability servers where we can have the replica of ArcGIS server in an active or an active passive mode. Coming to the basic server roles which have been added, we have got ArcGIS Server, we have got ArcGIS Image Server, which helps you publish your image services on the fly for your visualization, for performing distributed analytics on your raster data. Then we have got your GeoAnalytics Server, which helps you do your analysis based on space and time data. Going ahead, if you want to have real-time data integrations, we have come up with a server called GeoEvent Server. And for your business solutions, we have got Business Analytics Server. Now, the best part of this is that earlier what we used to have was we used to have a single server deployment. But now, if required, we know that we are working with lots of imagery data. We can have a separate ArcGIS image server installed on a separate machine, and we can increase the core size of that server. The benefit of that is that if I know I'm going to do a lots of distributed work on my image server, then I would be putting my load only on the image server, and the other servers are not touched much. The same thing can be done for a GeoEvent server or a GeoAnalytics server. So if I know I'm working more on a vector data with a space and time series, I will try to put more, I will have a separate installation of GeoAnalytics server and do all the configurations at that server level. So it's a distributed environment in ArcGIS 10.5 Enterprise solution. With ArcGIS Enterprise, what we have come up with, we have got two levels of users, that's level 1 and level 2. In level 1 users, they are basically more viewers, where you can view your data, you can view the data as maps, apps, and then we have got level 2 users which were already there, like your admin users or publishers, who not only have the rights of viewing rights, but they can create their own context files, or they can also upload their map data or application data in maps or web apps or your apps which are available on the Play Store. For the content management system, we have ArcGIS has also come up with roles and groups. In roles, we see that we have got roles for viewers, users, publishers, and administrators. And in groups, there can be a collection of users which are defined to a specific role which can be attached to these groups. Coming to the deployment patterns, if we talk about deployment patterns, the deployment patterns, we can, with your ArcGIS server, we have portal for ArcGIS, we have got data stores. So if you have got a data store with a data which is coming out from other systems, or maybe big data which is coming. You can have a spatio-temporal data stored for that, and you can have a separate installation for that. And then we have got a web adapter. And what's new in 10.5 is there's a lot of improved scalability. We have come up with OGC enhancements for web services. We have come up with GeoEvent Server, so earlier which helps you do your distributed analysis. We have got insights, we have got raster analysis, Python web scripting. So what we have done is it has got an improved scalability, quality, and performance. Using your enterprise 10.5 solutions, what we can do is we can have multiple different kind of data which can be integrated with our servers. So we can have a setup for IoTs. We can have data which is coming from raster data, your satellite imagery, or any kind of other data which is available with us. We've got vector data which can be coming. The data can also be coming from your business intelligence systems like CRM systems or SAP systems. And then if any data is available in big data or tabular format like MIS data or data coming from GPS devices, then that data in your XLS file can also be pulled and dragged and can be used into your systems. In your latest ArcGIS Enterprise systems, especially when we talk about smart cities, what we have seen is that we can have a centralized server systems where all your city administration is taking place, and then we have got multiple departments who maintain their own data, who update their own data, and they share their data as web services to the central servers. So if we see the slide here, what we see is that we have got a financial department, we have got transportation department, then we have got police department. So all these departments, it can be your health, it can be your education. So all these departments are different departments which maintain their data themselves, they update their data, and they just share their data into the central systems from where the data can be pushed to your web apps, and they can also be shared within your community. It can be within your in-house community or to the customers or to the end customers. So what actually we mean is that it's a portal-to-portal collaboration where we are trying to integrate it with multiple catalogs from multiple systems. Some of the key features of ArcGIS Enterprise is we already have a smart mapping and visualization system. We have come up with new analytics, that GeoEvent Server. We have got, for utilities, we have got our inbuilt geocoding services and routing services which can be used from ArcGIS Online. And if you have your own services, you can even configure your own services with our servers. And then we have got a living Atlas context data which is shared by the community, where you can share your data, and that data can be pulled out into your portal for ArcGIS. And then we have got your app templates, 3D maps, and configured apps which are available with us. If we talk about portal for ArcGIS, in portal for ArcGIS, earlier we used to have around 30+ widgets, but now we have come up with more than 40+ widgets which are available. What we mean by widgets is that it's a simple functionality where you can simply drag and drop and create a web application yourself. So maybe what we can quickly do is we can help, I will be walking through how we can create a simple website using portal for ArcGIS. So the first thing what I will do is I'll be logging into my ArcGIS online. As soon as we log into our organization account, we see that we have got multiple tabs which are available. The organization tabs helps us see what are the different users and what are their roles. So here we can see that there are multiple users with different roles. Here the administrator has the options of changing the roles for each particular user. Then if we go to the context tab, here we are able to see that all the web maps, all the maps, all the data which has been published from your desktop, whether it's from within your organization or whether it's data which is coming from other departments, you can see that data web maps here. If it's a web application, you can see when the web application was created, at what time and what date. So, and how we can create a web application, I will quickly show you that. So we will go to the Create tab. We will create a web application using a web app builder. We can say it's a demo app. Here we have an option to create a website by yourself. It can be your 2D format or it can be your 3D format. You can attach your tags, what you want to attach. You can write a summary for that, and you can specify to which folder you want to specify it to. As soon as I have updated this, I will be able to go to a wizard which will help me create my web application. So what I'm right now trying to show you is we are creating a web application without even writing a single line of code. So the screen which comes up is a screen which will help me create a web application. So the first tab which we get is the Themes tab. In the Themes tab, we have options where we can specify what kind of theme we want. What should be the look and feel of my application? What should be where should my buttons be placed? What should be my style? What should be the color background? I have got, earlier there were only 3 to 4 themes, but we have come out with much more themes here. We have got a dashboard theme, Dart theme, so we can select any one of the themes which is here. We can specify the layout here. The next thing which we have is the maps. In the maps, we have the option of adding the layers which we want to use. So here what we will do is we'll choose a map. In choose a map, we have options where we can select the data from data which is existing within my organization, or it can be a data which is existing within my groups, or data which is publicly available. So right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to attach a sample crime data from my organization itself. I will just add that as a web map. Once I add it on the web map, the software automatically zooms it to that location. I can specify when my application opens, what should be the map view for that, what should be the extent. So I can specify that using this use current map view. Once I have specified this, the next thing what I would like to do is right now what I've done is I've just added a map, I've added few buttons, and I've added the different maps which I would like to view. But I've not tried to do any extra analytics. So if I want to attach some different widgets which are now available, so as soon as I go to the widgets tab, here you will see that these are simple widgets which are available. I can very well select whichever widgets I want. I can have a base map gallery. I can have an option where I want to have a summary view. I want to do my directions. I want to view some charts. So the widgets which I want will be coming as my regular buttons on my web applications. So right now I've just added those widgets which will help me do the stuff which I want to do, but I've not attached it with the map which I've added. So how to do that? So if I go to the summary tab, I can very well go to the summary tab. I can select on which layer I want to work. I can say I want to do a summation of all the kidnappings which have happened, because that is the crime data which I have. So I will say total kidnappings. I can do another summation on the total number of dacoits, these which have happened, then burglary which has happened in a particular area. So, and I can go on adding the fields the way I want. Once I have done that, I've configured my summary one. The next thing which I would like to configure is maybe a charting window. In this charting window, again, I need to specify on which layers I would like to view my data. So I will say that I would like to work on my data which I've added from crime. I will select that. And in this, I would like to say that which all fields I would like to see in my charts. So again, I can select different like murder, kidnappings, robbery, dacoity. I can select this, and then I can select what type of chart I want, whether I want a column chart or a bar chart. Once I select that, I can say OK. So what I've done is right now I've configured my widgets which were there. Once I've done is I will just save this application. Once I've saved this application, I would like to preview this. Suppose I know that I want to view this application on a mobile device or on a PDA or iPhone. So I have an option where even before deployment, I can very well see what will be the look and feel of my web application on a tab or an iPhone or an Android phone, whichever is there. So I can very well do all my settings here in this tab. And once I have done this, I can very well say launch. When I say launch, what you are going to see is a web application which I just created in front of you. I think so I just spent roughly 5 minutes to create this web application. And once I've created this web application, you are ready to go ahead and work on this web application the way you want. So that's how simple the widgets help you create your web applications the way you want. Now, if you remember, I had tried to add few widgets. One of the widgets was a summary viewer. In the summary viewer, I tried to see the total number of counts, total number of kidnappings. So what we see right now is that whatever is the map extent, based on the zoom in and zoom out, the value of the counts is changing. So it's a dynamic map with the dynamic data which is getting updated on your summary window. The second thing which we have done was we had created a chart. In this, what we have done was we had just configured one of the query in which we had said, I want to know the crimes. And in this, we have an option that suppose we don't want to work on the full data set. So we have an option where we can do an intersection based on different criteria. So right now I will just select maybe a circle. I will draw the circle and I will say apply. So what you are going to see is a chart data for the columns which I had selected, which I wanted to view. So if you remember, I had selected the different attributes like murder, rape, kidnapping, robbery, which was there. So all these columns have come in a bar chart for the districts which I had selected. So for the different districts, I am able to view my data. Once I have done this, so this is how easily I could configure my charts. The next thing what I had done was directions. I wanted to move from one direction to from one place to another. So here what it does is it tries to take the data again from ArcGIS Online. You can very well specify what is your start location. You can specify your end location. And once I have specified my start and end locations, I get to know all the directions. So it's giving me options of giving me a driving time. So it's going to take 4 hours and 52 minutes. So it's not only that driving time based on a car. I have got multiple criteria. I can select that whether it's I want to walk down or whether rather than using a car, I want to use a truck. So if I use a truck, it means I'm going to use more of highway rather than using the regular district roads. So the data which comes out of it is a little bit different, and you can on the runtime dynamically. You can just see the changes which have happened when we moved from driving time distance to distance which we did for truck. So here what we wanted to demonstrate was a simple web application which we have created in just 5 minutes in front of you using multiple widgets which are already available with you. You just need to add the data and configure that data into your portal for ArcGIS, and you are ready to go. Another new feature what has come in this is that earlier what used to happen was if you need to define a new workflow, there were custom widgets which you wanted to use. But with the new release of ArcGIS 10.5.1, what has happened is you can deploy your custom widgets along with your portal for ArcGIS. So apart from the widgets which ASRI provides, we can very well configure your new widgets, custom widgets with these applications. And it's not only 2D widgets which we offer. Apart from 2D widgets, we have options. If you have a data which is coming out from your 3D data, it can be configured with 3D widgets which are available with us. Apart from that, there are utility services like we have got print services, locators, and base maps. So here you can, you can very well say that if you don't want to use a ESRI geocoder, you can configure your own geocoder and attach a geocoder with your portal for ArcGIS using this tab. Apart from this is that right now what we had done was we are trying to create a simple application using a web app builder, but sometimes what happens is that we have got, we know that we are working for a particular industry and we have got more than 1,000+ templates which are available with us, where you can easily download those solution templates and just configure your data. So you don't even need to use the widgets which are there. You directly use those solution templates and those apps which are available. So the benefit is that we are trying to deliver the maps, the apps, the platform only with configuration to the end users. So without even wasting much of time, without writing single line of codes, the people who go with ArcGIS Server Enterprise can easily go ahead and deploy their applications from the very first day. So it's a lot of support not only for the people who are using the software, but it's also a good support for the developers, for integrators, for the SIs who are working with ArcGIS Enterprise, because most of them are ready to use solution templates. And it's easy to use and easy to support. A new thing which has come in 10.5 is it helps you tune your software. It gives you the performance parameters for the server. So it gives you different statistics. So the benefit is that whenever you're doing your load testing, or when you would like to see what is the total different service utilizations for different web maps, you can very well see the logs there. You can also have summary of multiple errors which are coming, and you can also identify your bottlenecks which are there within your application. So once we know the different logs, we identify the bottlenecks, we can very well tune our applications, and we can ensure that whatever we are delivering is has a better performance. Going to some of the extensions of ArcGIS Server, we have got ArcGIS Image Server, where it helps you connect to your different raster and image libraries. It helps you do your analytical functions, and it also helps you give different outputs for different times. So if you talk about different data sets which are coming from different sensors, the data which is coming from satellites or drones, they can be very well integrated with ArcGIS software. You can have different imagery which is coming from your FMV or LiDAR data. You can also integrate those type of imagery systems with ArcGIS Enterprise. Coming to image processing, in image processing, it helps you do your image cataloging, searching your images based on different criteria. It has got multiple raster function tools which are available, and it's not only that you can do your image processing on the desktops, but now you can do your image processing on the web as well. And then we have got more raster analytical tools. So we have added more to the dynamic raster models, which was earlier there. We have added more powerful analytical tools for geoprocessing. We have got much more better rich interface for your web layers, which are coming out from rasters. And the latest new thing which has come out is the distributed architecture again for image analysis. The benefit is that right now the load is not getting subjected to only one system. It gets distributed to multiple cores or multiple systems. Coming to the next extension, we would like to talk about the GeoEvent Server. Here we very well understand that we have got lots of data, which is high volume of data, which is coming from real-time data. You would like to map the assets which are there within the organization. There can be your movable assets or immovable assets. You might like to see the data which is coming from the environment, like climate data, which is coming from maybe government companies like IMD, where they actually share that data. So if you would like to have that kind of data and you would like to use that kind of real-time data updated into your systems, you can very well do that using the GeoEvent Server. So here what we are talking about is that we have got multiple connectors which are available. So the data can be coming from multiple different devices. It can be your devices which are there from your station devices. It can be your movable assets. It can be your social media. So nowadays we know that lots of data is floating in social media like Twitters, YouTubes, and we know that there's lots of data which is there, and we would like to not only visualize it, but we would also try to derive some analytics out of it. So the best thing is that we can very well use such kind of data and we can put it into your system. So it's not only for your visualization, it is also for your analytics. Once that is there, it can be used for on your web devices or on your mobile devices as well. And talking about the performance, when we talk about performance, we have seen that nowadays we talk about data which is coming, we have got large volumes of data, maybe your big data, so and there are billions of events or events which are coming on regular basis. So that kind of data can be stored using the ArcGIS spatio-temporal big data store. And once that data is pushed into it, we can do lots of analytics and derive lots of logical information out of it. So maybe we can have a quick demo on this as well. So what I'm going to do is I will go to my GeoEvent processor. I will just try to log in. So here what we see is that we have got a server manager. The server manager helps you, gives you the details of different types of services which are running. So right now I have tried to configure two different services. One is the data coming from tweets. The other one is the data coming from flights. So I'll try to configure this. We can very well say that these are the running sites, running web services which I have configured onto my system. Then we have got a GeoEvent manager. Again, we need to log in into this. So I will be logging into this. Once I log into my GeoEvent manager, it tells me that the different services, the different type of inputs, the count of inputs which are coming, I can very well increase or decrease the different inputs and outputs and how I would like to see based on the configurations here. If I go to my input tab here again, if you see everything again in GeoEvent processor is also more of configuration. So if I click on add inputs here, you can see that we have got multiple connectors which are available. That is the data coming from feature service, data coming from JSON objects, data coming from GeoJSON, data coming from REST web services, data coming from XML. So there are lots of connectors which are available. We just select the connector and we just share the web services which are coming from there, and we can very well, once we have that, we can very well define our input connectors. Once we have done with the input connectors, we have got option where we can also configure our output connectors. So like our input connectors, we have got, in the input connectors, I will also quickly show you that we can very well configure our, we very well know that there are lots of tweets which are coming, that even right now there are lots of the tweets which will be coming will be lots in number. So if I want to filter my records, how do I filter my records? So in my configuration tab, you can see there is an option where I can put my keywords. So like keywords like India, football, cricket, or the keywords which I am looking at. So once I put these keywords, what's actually going to happen is that only those records where these keywords match, only those records will be pulled out from all the tweets which are happening. So it means I'm out of all the lakh tweets, I'm narrowing down using my filter, using my keywords, I'm narrowing down to around few hundreds of records. And once I have configured my inputs, there is an option where I can configure my output as well. So if I go to my output, there is options where I can, we have got connectors for outputs. So if you want the connector to be directly updated as a web feature layer, it can be added. Then you can update the data into your spatio-temporal big data store. You can update the data as JSON object. You can send a text SMS or you can send an email. So there are multiple connectors again which are available, which can just be simply configured with your system, and you can very well work with this. So going to a quick demo for this, if you see what we have done is, this is the flight information. I have tried to, in this flight information, I have tried to, whatever feeds are coming from the flights, I am trying to add it, and on the map, you will be able to see the different dots which are coming for the different flight data which is coming. So right now this is just a simulator which I've added, so the number is a little bit less, but you can always go on increasing or decreasing. So the performance can be very well tuned even in your GeoEvent processor. So this is a small demo on GeoEvent processor. We are going to have a more detailed version of a separate webinar on GeoEvent processor as well, going ahead in this webinar series. Then we have got a GeoAnalytics server. In GeoAnalytics server, this is again a new concept which has come where you would like to do your geoanalysis for the data which is available in different space and time. So what is happening is, here again the data is getting computed in a distributed manner. So what's actually happening is that earlier all the load was getting updated into your single servers on a single node. But now using the distributed parallel computing, what's actually is happening is that whatever analytical tools which were there in ArcGIS earlier, most of them have been migrated to this GeoAnalytics server. So there's a distributed parallel computing which is going to happen. So even if the volume of data is much, for the processing which earlier used to take maybe a couple of hours or days, has been narrowed down to few minutes. So what kind of different data sets can be used is, you can have your data sets which are coming from different data sets from your space and time. So the first map which you see on the left is lots of noisy data that can be, then apart from that you can create intelligence out of that, and you can create heat maps onto that on the data which you really want to filter it. So it's a simple filtering out of your lots of data which is available. And how it is being done is using a distributed analytical tool where all the analytics is being pushed to multiple nodes rather than a single node. The next thing which I would like to talk about is insights. So insights, again, what we have done here is a simple web browser tool which enables the users to view your data and to do your analytics on the fly. When I say analytics on the fly is that you can very well, even from your simple XLS files, which just has a simple lat long field, you can drag and drop it to your web browser, and once it has been added, it will be shown on the map using the lat and the long fields, and then you can simply drag and drop and create multiple charts out of it. So going to a quick demo for insights as well. So what we have done is, this is data which we have collected from accidents, this is a dummy data for the accidents which are happening around Delhi. So we can very well see that the data which we have tried to pull is from a XLS file. If you go to add data, you can simply add your data from XLS files. On the map, you can see heat maps for the density of areas where maximum accidents have happened. On the second chart, you can see at what time when the accidents volume was more. Another chart tells you that what is the maximum number of accidents which have happened, whether it was a truck which was involved in the accidents or whether it was a bus. So if you see here, the trucks, the number of accidents from the trucks are much more. If we click on any one of the selection, we see that all the other maps are also getting updated. So it tells me easily that if I can very well categorize that what kind of data I would like to see, and I can very well analyze my system based on the requirement what I have. And how we can do is suppose I want to create a chart. I will simply say drag and drop. I will say create a chart, and when I say create a chart, based on the field, it has simply easily created a simple chart. So in front of you, it's a simple drag and drop feature, which is there on a web browser, which helps you do your analytics on the web browser itself. Again, we have got a much more detailed version webinar, especially on insights, which will help you define what other features are also available, what are more analytics we can do using insights. And what are the different type of data sets which we can use with insights is, we can use your data which is coming from CSV files or XLS files. We can use spreadsheets, data coming from your geodatabases, data coming from your big data, or data coming from your real-time data feeds which is coming. So all these kind of data can be integrated into your systems, and we can start working with it. The next thing which I would like to talk about is the living atlas of world. So what ASRI has come up is a centralized place on the cloud where you can, each organization can share their data which they want to. And suppose you don't want to share your own data, but still you want to use ArcGIS software. So there are lots of organizations which have already shared their data on our living atlas. So if you see, there is a data which is coming from imagery, base maps, historical data. So I can quickly show you that as well, maybe. So I go to my browser, and I will very well see that there are different kind of base maps, imagery which is available. I can very well use this imagery into my web applications as a web service which is ready to use. So this is actually the lots of contents which is available from multiple industries. All this data can be used as base maps. It can be even your demographic data. So if you want to use your demographic data, you can very well pull down your demographic data which has been published here. So all these organizations who have already published their data is easily available, which can be pulled down into your ArcGIS server, and you can start working with this. So this was on the living atlas and the integration with ArcGIS server. And the next thing which is there is that there's lots of apps which are available, especially apps which are available for workforce, for ArcGIS, Navigator app, Collector app, Survey app, and Operation dashboards. So these are the different apps which are available, which can help the users in the field define their workflows, upload their data in an offline or an online mode from your field into your central servers, and you can start working with them. And even that kind of data, once the connectivity is there, even that data is available to you on your central servers, and you can very well view it, and you can do your lots of analysis on this. So the next webinar, which is going to happen on 17th of August, will be more focused on and having more details on the apps which are coming from Esri. So the takeaways from today's session, if we talk about, is what was the different type of deployment patterns which have come up, what are the new different servers which have come up, like GIS Server, Image Server, GeoAnalytic Server, and GeoEvent Server, and what are the new features which have come out of Portal for ArcGIS, the new widgets, how we can simply create web applications, and how we can share your data through your desktops, through your projects, into your systems which are there available on the web or your devices. So it's a full enterprise system as a platform which can be used into your organization for different purposes. So with this, we have come to the closure of today's webinar. We can go ahead with the question and answer sessions now.
Sure. Thank you, Ashish. So we have an entire team of my technical team is here with us, and so we have a few questions via chat window. So I'll just quickly take up in the sequence in which they have been sent to us. First, I think before we even go ahead further, so I just want to share that the recording of this particular event would be would be shared after this, and it should be available to you within by the end of this particular week. So it will be sent out. It would be uploaded on our YouTube channel, and the link of it would be shared with all the participants and all the people who were registered for today's webinar. Okay, so now coming to the questions, we have first question which is coming from Durga Prasad Pontunu. He says, "Hi team, I am working with the pre-sales and design team of Innovation Center, IIC Technologies, and his question is, what shall be our response with respect to ArcGIS Enterprise offering when the purchaser asks us for unlimited perpetual licenses? Is it possible?" Shashi, you want to?
Yeah. Here, in this case, when a user wants to have a unlimited number of licenses, you can have a yearly agreement that you can take up with your business team.
Yeah,
we'll connect with your business account manager.
So Durga, so we have a team based in Hyderabad. So I'll probably as Shashi said that typically there are specific models when there is a requirement for unlimited licenses. So I think IIC is already one of our enterprise customers. So I think that information will be available to you. I think. So I'm not sure whether this question was from an organization perspective or from the end user perspective. So
that we will discuss with you separately for yearly agreement.
Okay.
There is a separate specific agreement, yearly enterprise license agreement, based upon the size of the organizations and the requirement. Accordingly, we can make the.
Okay, so Durga, so probably what I will do is I'll ask my the account team to get in touch with IIC so that they can specifically address this particular requirement for you and provide you how this can be implemented or how this can be further extended to the customers. Okay. Now there's another question. It is from Ritanshu. He says that I created an application using AGL and downloaded the source.zip file. Now I made a few changes to the code and I want to host it in AGL again. How can I do that?
Yeah, I will take up this question. This application, you have to host it in your own web server. Currently, there is no provision to directly host it in ArcGIS online. If you have any cloud-based services within your organization, owned by your organization, you can host this application. Okay. And obviously, it can connect with all the services currently that you have hosted in ArcGIS Online also.
Okay, so I mean, there's another question which is again coming from Ritanshu. I think this question came while Ashish was talking about the web apps. Okay, the question was that the layout seems to be responsive, but the map is not responsive. Why? How can you achieve it using JS API provided by Esri?
Primarily, the interface what is developed is based upon HTML5 and JavaScript. It's completely a responsive application. In terms of map is also designed in the same way to adjust with the interface. So there is no specific separate requirement for making it responsive.
Okay.
In fact, the demo which I tried to show, in that we were trying to showcase that how whatever things we were trying to do on the widget, you were able to see the updated maps together with that. So that was only possible because of the responsive application which we had done.
So I think there was one question from Anuj, but I think the context is not there. So Anuj, if you can put in your additional comments, it says that it is available in 10.5. So at this point, I don't know what was the context of the question. If you can just repost your question again, we can take it. Okay. Now there's another question which says that can you have a PPT or a user manual for us to implement? So I think I already shared that the presentation and the recording of the webinar would be available to you after this particular event. What about manual?
Yes, if you have any specific requirement in terms of implementation queries that we can address via support cases that we can log via our support website in esriindia.com.
But I think there's a lot of manuals which are available online on the ArcGIS website which can be accessed, right?
Yes, you are right, Vishal. There are a lot of manuals, installation steps, best practices. Those are available. We will share some of the links in the current chat window.
Okay, so probably we can do that. Now another question, this from Praveen Narayandas. Says, can you explain role of Arc objects in 10.5? And I think there is another follow-up question which says SOE support for ArcGIS Enterprise 10.5.
SOE is currently supported and it's continued to support. There's no plan to rule out that one or deprecate it. Regarding Arc objects, yes, we are moving towards the SDKs in terms of available with the ArcGIS Pro. As you are aware, the ArcGIS Pro is the next generation application you can continue to develop, and you can use the ArcGIS runtime. Currently, it's not 100% equivalent to ArcGIS engine that where you are developing the Arc objects-based applications, but eventually it will be equal in a near time. So.
I have a question from Anuj Kumar which says that we need to show the runtime location of our trucks having GPS on a map published on GIS Server. What component of ArcGIS is required? Is it available to ArcGIS Enterprise or is it licensed separately?
It's a particular product is called ArcGIS GeoEvent Server. It is part of the ArcGIS Enterprise but licensed as a server role.
And when you talk about multiple connectors, so what's happening in connectors is that we can have multiple different type of feeds. So if you would have seen the input parameters, which I was showing, so in the input parameters, if the data is coming in form of web services or REST services or as a JSON object, these can be my integration points from where the data will be coming into your GeoEvent processor and showcasing on the map.
So essentially what it means is that you need a separate license for our GeoEvent processor, which is other than the ArcGIS server. But the licenses can be of a larger scale, which can scale independently with respect to when compared to ArcGIS server, because you can have a 4-core ArcGIS server and a higher core GeoEvent server, right, to support the number of events, live events you are coming.
Absolutely right, Vishal.
So there's another question from Ritanshu. He says that I think this is in the context of the GeoEvent processor, that how many events can I receive and process? So there are some follow-up comments also on this particular question. You mentioned about 10,000 events. If I want to visualize 50,000 events per second, will GeoEvent server support? And I think, yeah. So Ashish.
Yeah, here in this case, GeoEvent is absolutely scalable. Based upon the queue, you can move the events that are received. So absolutely currently there is no limitation on that. You can design the architecture of the deployment in the way we want. We can scale up. So that we can take it up offline for the further discussion, because it may be a requirement of the large implementation. It needs to be designed according to meet the requirement. So absolutely we will connect with you once after the event is over.
So what there's no limitation in terms of number of events it supports,
yes.
But one thing which we have to cognizant is that if the number of events is higher, we need a higher capacity server to actually support, and the architecture has to be scalable so that it can handle that kind of a load, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I have a comment, another question coming from Rao Mapati, who says, I need some requirement that is as big data and analytics are
happening case. What is the limitation of data limit size for smart city requirements?
In utilities and other sectors. Can you share the video recording link after the present? I think the recording link will be shared. Essentially, the question is that what is the limitation of data limit size for smart city requirements in utilities? I mean, primarily we are talking about big data, so I mean, is there any limitation on the data? So
there is no limitation on the data size because geoanalytics is absolutely scalable. So we can have relatively a number of nodes according to your requirement and process the data.
Okay. Now, there's another question which says, can you please update on the image server in 10.5? And can you give us a brief update on image server in 10.5?
So what we had done in the presentation was we had talked about lots of new features which have come in the raster analysis and the distributed architecture which has been implemented in image server. So apart from that, if we are looking at some specific use case or that, if you can share that use case in an email or that, then we can very well work on that.
Okay, so this is another question coming from Palakala Shrikant, who says, what's the difference between ArcGIS Enterprise Advanced to Standard?
ArcGIS Enterprise is you can say, the family of products. It's part of ArcGIS Standard and Advanced are part of it. So there is a specific functionalities available with this. There is no change in the earlier ArcGIS Server Standard or Advanced. It's part of ArcGIS Enterprise. Ashish, if you would like to add a couple of points.
Just here, the new things which I've added is the roles, the ones which I showed, like level 1 and level 2 users have been added, which were earlier not a part of this. So those changes have been done, but otherwise the server remains the same as it was earlier, as Shashi said.
Okay, so I mean, there's a question from C2. Said, do they comply with OGC web services? I think this was.
Yes. Yeah. So all the web services which are there, ArcGIS has a mandate to comply to it, and whatever web services are complied are already there on the OGC website as well as ESRI website. So if we are looking at any one specific web service, we can very well go and check it on these sites. But ArcGIS is OGC compliant, and most of the services are OGC compliant with ArcGIS. Okay. That is how it makes it interoperable.
Okay, so another question from Dharma. It was shared that Esri India is planning a training program this year. Any updates on this? I think we have training programs. The training calendar is available on our website under the training pages. So you can go and visit it, and you can register for the training as per your requirement. Or if you want, you can send us an email at training@esrindia.com, and we'll let you know when the next training is planned. Or if you need any specific training specific to your requirements, those requirements can be taken care of. So training@esrindia.com, you can send us an email, Dharma. Another question, is ArcGIS Enterprise licensing core-based?
Yeah, so like earlier ArcGIS Server, yes, ArcGIS Enterprise licensing is core-based, and it's 4 core per license, as it was earlier.
Yes. In addition to that, if you are deploying a portal, portal is completely a named user license.
Okay. So there's a question from Sarmishta. I really don't understand the question. What is the whole program? So if you can just send in more comments on this so that we can take up this particular question. So another question from Durga Prasad. He says that I'm looking for response for another common scenario: web portal with spatial and non-spatial data. Is it possible to extend TFA to non-spatial screens?
Yes, now based on the multiple integrations which we had shown, so yes, it is very much possible pulling out your data from your MIS systems, whether it's your Excel files or data which is MIS data which is residing in your geo databases or any other systems. We can very well pull that data, integrate it with our spatial data, and we can have a combined web application built on top of that. That is very much possible.
So I think Anuj had shared earlier. I think his question was in context of whether the web app builder which Ashish showed, whether that is available in 10.5.1 or is it available in 10.5 as well. So I think it's available in 10.5. So we have web app builder, we have App Studio. So whether you want to build a web app or whether you want to build native apps, so that functionality is available. So as Ashish mentioned, we have a detailed webinar on ArcGIS apps which is coming up on 17th of August. So you should receive the invites of that in a few days. So you can register for that webinar and get more detailed insight in terms of what those apps are and what kind of functionalities and how you can create your own custom apps.
So just to add to what Vishal said is, for the custom widgets, the thing is that earlier we were not able to register the custom widgets earlier in 10.5. So that is a new feature in 10.5.1, where the custom widgets which are prepared can also be registered with your PFA.
Okay, so question from Srihari, whether Insights comes with EDN license.
Presently, Insight is a very new product which has been launched. So right now, it is not bundled with ADN licenses. So if there is a requirement, you will have to send in your request to Esri India, and then we can take it ahead from there.
Sure. Deepak, regarding your question on a webinar for electric utilities, we do have a 3 webinar series coming up for utilities. So I think that it will start sometime in August. So you'll see the invite from our side. So which will be organized specifically covering utility scenarios. Another question which says, can we publish our custom widgets to ArcGIS portal for our organization? Yeah?
Yes, so that's what is the latest feature of 10.5.1, where now the custom widgets can be registered. Earlier, this was not feasible.
Okay, how can we customize app developed through a web app builder? I mean, if it's an already existing app, then I don't.
The widgets which are already available can be simply dragged and dropped, and the data needs to be configured with it. But if there is a special use case which is there, for that we need to use a custom widget tool which is there for the development. So custom widget tool will help you define your use case, and you can design the way the custom widget is supposed to happen.
So I think we have already exceeded the time. I'll take just one last question. I know there are other questions also, so we will respond to your questions over email. You will get the response from us via info@esrindia.com. So we'll just close with one last question. Do we have Esri base maps with Google? So what I understand is that can we integrate Google Maps, into the? Can we get the Google Map feed into Esri? I assume that's the question.
So we can very well integrate the Google Maps with Esri if required using the regular JavaScripting. And Esri also provides their own base maps which are there. So there are 7 different base maps which are available, which can also be pulled out and can be used.
So I think, unfortunately, we have run out of time. I see there are a lot of questions, so we'll have to respond to you over email. So we have all your questions with us. So we will respond to them over email. If you have any further questions, you can always write to us at info@esriindia.com, info@esriindia.com. You can send in your additional questions to us, and if you want to know more about 10.5, or if you are using some older version of of ArcGIS and want to upgrade to 10.5, just feel free to write to us on this email ID itself. So with that, we'll close this webinar for today, and we look forward to seeing you all in our next follow-up webinar on August 17th. Shoradeep, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to thank all the panel members and the participants who joined us today. Hope you all have spent a useful time. With this, we conclude the session. Wish you all a great day ahead. You may all disconnect your lines now. Thank you very much.